Good morning, or what could be left of a good morning. Thank you for joining me on the Not Bobby Dirkens show. This is the morning after Clemson got their butt kicked by the Duke Blue Devils 28-7 in what Dabo Swinney said is one of the strangest, weirdest games he's ever been part of. And so I'm going to get into that in just a moment. Hey, if you're brand new here, a lot of people's been finding the channel, unfortunately, because of the loss, but hey, I'll take it. I am not Bobby Dirkens. If you are brand new here, please subscribe, turn on the notifications. I've got to go ahead and tell you on my Not Bobby Dirkens channel, that right there, Britney Spears' next love interest. That's from actually Bobby Dirkens, so that shouldn't be up there. That was a joke for that channel. I'm sorry for showing that. Some of you were like wondering what's going on. So let's dive into Clemson's loss last night. For some of you Clemson fans, you're trying to work this out mentally, and I'm going to go ahead and give you. I'm going to get straight to the point before I even read what he said. Somebody asked me last night, said, do you watch the post game with Swinney? Are you going to watch it? And I said, no, because I'll actually be more angry than what I am right now. And I saw parts of it. I've read parts of the interview, and I'm going to read parts of the interview to you. This is via ESPN. I'm going to put this link here in the chat section. Joey Cogdell, that was rough driving. Sorry for typing. What's up, Joey? But I'm going to tell you straight up, folks. This was pretty rough. This was pretty rough. And let's get to the point here. I said I was going to get to the point. I'm not getting to the point. I'm going to get to the point now. What we saw last night was the ABCs of football totally dropped. The ABCs of football. You get the ball inside the 10-yard line. You fumble twice. On the very first field goal, that was not the field goal kicker's fault that the ball got blocked. A guy was coming off the edge, never got touched. All right? Then you turn around and you look at this, and this is a stat that I'm gonna mention here when I read the Dabo Swinney quote. Cade Klubnik threw for 209 yards last night. He was 27 of 43, one touchdown, one interception. There was a few errant passes, but especially like in the first half, that one to Jake Brennanstola over the middle. There was a linebacker that chipped Jake. I think it was unintentional, but that's the reason the pass looks so far off. But Cade was hitting him in stride. Will Shipley rushed 17 times for 114 yards. He looks like a man out there. Phil Maffa had like 60-something yards from right off the top of my head. I'm not looking at the stat sheet for him right now. Antonio Williams, 7 receptions, 56 yards. On the Duke side of the ball, Leonard came out there and did what I told you he was going to do. I did not expect this. I didn't expect Clemson to turn over the ball twice within their own 10-yard line. I didn't expect that. I expected that we would be fundamentally better than that. In your Pop Warner leagues, your rec leagues, your church leagues, your flag football leagues, everybody knows you don't turn over the football inside the 10 twice in a game. You don't even supposed to do it once, but especially there. Take care of the football. The fundamentals of football was out the windows last night. And I can tell you, straight up, this is exactly how I feel when it comes to Clemson football right now.
We're at the threshold of hell.
Yeah, we're at the threshold of hell. We really are. And I'm going to tick some people off real quick. I'm not trying to tick you off until Clemson proves to me. I said this about Florida State. I said, Florida State, you went out and you beat the crap out of LSU. Great. You have to prove to me that you are who you are. And Clemson proved to me last night, and Clemson proved to me last year, and Clemson proved to me the year before that the dynasty that was going on is not there anymore. And some of you are, you can't say that. Did you form your own language? It's over, folks. Thomas Santiago says, you have a great channel, buddy. I stopped watching part 1 just to come in on the live as a Clemson fan for the past 12 years. Best coverage of the team by far. Thomas, thank you for that. That's very kind words. I try to tell the truth about my team while balancing my love / frustration. I appreciate that. It's a very big compliment. Receivers didn't get separation downfield, and it was enough with the wide receiver screens. Yeah, I'm with you. Splash says talk is cheap. We got to prove it too now. You have to prove it every week. And I'm going to get to the Dabo Swinney post-game comments. I'm going to go ahead and get to those now, and then I'm going to make my comments about proving it on the field. Now, this is via ESPN. You can find this. You can go to Google, excuse me, and you can type in Dabo Swinney post-game Duke comments, and you'll find a mirage of options. Dabo Swinney said, that's the weirdest game I've ever been a part of. I've been beat. I've had my butt kicked, but that's the strangest game I've ever been part of. Now, there's a rumor by some people who was at, and somebody asked me not to mention their name when they said this. So if you're watching this video, of course, you know I'm not going to go back on my word to you. But some people at the game said Clemson wasn't even acting right coming out of the persona of the football team as a whole, coming out at halftime, wasn't even acting right. Nobody was fired up. You might have had a few players here or there, but overall, the conglomerate, something was wrong. Something was way off. Clemson had 12 more first downs, 48 more yards, and both threw and rushed for 200 yards. A stat Swinney noted afterward that had correlated to a 108 all-time record for the Tigers before Monday night. Yeah, it's supposed to. It's almost indescribable what I saw, Swinney said. It's incredibly frustrating when you had so much opportunity. It's routine stuff, the basics, the fundamentals, basic stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that said very well. Folks, lining up and running the football and taking care of the football is a big deal. I have given this example so many times in the past, and a lot of you look over it, and I don't mean that insulting, but some of you are looking for deeper answers. And I think today is not a calculus answer. Today is a 1 + 1 = 2 answer. But a lot of these coordinators, they pull up these massive whiteboards, and they could talk you and I under the table when it comes to strategy, why they do what they do, the game plan. But that at the end of all of that talking, all of that unbelievable experience, all of that, I'm smarter than you bunch of hillbillies. At the end of it, they have a loss on their hands, which means all of that planning, and it ended up in the wrong equation. What does that mean? They're wrong. And last night, Clemson didn't lose the ball game 17-14 on a late field goal at the end of a hard-fought game. Clemson didn't lose the ball game 21 to 17, 24-21. Clemson got their helmet ripped off of them last night when it mattered. And the majority of the ripping off by Clemson was done by Clemson. Duke just took advantage of it. In the past, Duke was so bad, Clemson could come out there and do that and still win because Duke was so bad. Duke just took advantage of what Clemson gave them. I'll guarantee you if you talk to Mike Elko, like behind the closed doors, he would have told you, I can't believe what I just saw out of them. I'm going to go a little farther here. Before I go any farther, I'll just let you know real quick. Before I go any farther, If you want to subscribe to the channel, it is free. It does help the channel. I've had a lot of subscribers over the past few days, but well, since last night. But it is free if you want to support the channel and hit the thumbs up. Now, if you're on an iPhone, you will not see the join button. But if you want to join, I have a couple of different tiers, like $3 per month. One is like $5 per month. You won't even notice it coming out every month. But if you want to support the channel, you really do like what I do. I do appreciate it. And super thanks as well if you want to just make a quick, hey, I feel you, brother. But I'm going to get back to this. Sweeney says this, and then I'm going to give you some thoughts of my own on this. We're not entitled to win. You've got to earn it. We had an opportunity to get control of that game on multiple occasions, and we just didn't. That's how you get beat. That's true. Now, here's one thing that's just interesting to me. People are going to see the score and judge this team. I love this football team, and I see a lot of opportunity here, said Sweeney. A lot of people are going to give up on us and throw us away, but I ain't throwing this team away. We're going to bounce back. Folks, people are going to see the score and judge this team. I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but the scoreboard is all that matters when you play football or you play basketball or you play a score-based sport. You look at the scoreboard and you say, we lost. People last night did not have to be tuned into every moment of that game to realize that Clemson Clemson's not Clemson anymore. They have the white pall. They have the orange background. They have Sweeney as their coach. They have some good recruits. Now, I saw a schematic last night. I say a schematic. I don't know what I'm saying there. I saw a statistic that laid out how many more 4 stars and 5 stars we have versus them. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, for some of you, it's like, stars don't matter. What about Stetson Bennett and Hunter Renfro? Yeah, that's the reason everybody stares at them like they're unicorns is because what they did is uncommon for walk-ons. So stop trying to turn every walk-on into some Disney movie of the year. I'm sorry, you're wrong. The reason that Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, they continually are coming back and beating the crap out of people is because they realize stars matter. I'm sorry. Stub my toe, 89. One of the members of the Bobby Dirkens, not Bobby Dirkens channel. Last night was very reminiscent of the 2011 Orange Bowl. Yeah, it reminded me a lot of it. By the way, Stub my pinky toe, 89. Thank you for supporting the channel with your membership. Okay, so I'm going to give some thoughts on this game from last night and overall. First of all, Cade Klubnik is paying for the lack. This is the first point. Cade Klubnik is not the problem. Their lack of preparation for Cade Klubnik is the problem. Now, I went over this last night. I'm going to go over it again. I am not going to let people destroy this kid when we should be blaming the coaches currently and past for what they did to him. Taj Boyd sat behind Kyle Parker, and they would work him in. Sean Watson sat behind Cole Stout, and they would work him in. Yes, he won the job, but they worked him in. All right? Kelly Bryant sat behind Deshaun Watson. They worked him in. Trevor Lawrence sat behind Kelly Bryant. They worked him in. DJ sat behind Trevor Lawrence. They worked him in. Cade, they brought him in to fix what DJ messed up, and then they benched him. They didn't bring him in. He threw 100 passes last year, and 54 of them was in the Tennessee game. So the other 12 games, he had 46 combined passes. Why they would not bench DJ, I still don't know. I went on a rant about that last night. I'm not going after DJ. I'm just saying if he didn't fit the system or whatever the excuse was or whatever the truth is, why didn't you bench him? Why didn't you work in Cade? None of this makes sense. Cade and Clemson is paying for the lack of preparation, my friends. They did not prepare for this young man. They did not prepare this young man. And last night, that was part of it. He still threw for over 200 yards. He slid short. I'm sorry. It's just that's just it. I mean, he slid short. He needed more experience. He would have got more experience last year had Clemson did what they had always done with their backups, who had the title of future quarterback. They worked him in, but they wouldn't. Well, it was a different time. Yes, keep Clemson fans who are in denial and you're still taking up for what's went on. Last night should wake you up, right? Here's another stat for you. In the last 4 games, Clemson is 1-3. What? They lost to South Carolina. Could have kept running the football. They'd have beat South Carolina, but they didn't. They beat North Carolina. Oh, how did they do that? Oh, they brought Cade in. Tennessee, they played a Tennessee team that just sat and watched Cade's tendencies, and they were like, if we can just confuse this guy just enough, he doesn't have the experience, we can take him. And then you mix that with Brandon Streeter's offensive play calling. They lost that game. Last night, the Duke Blue Devils did something to Clemson that Tennessee and South Carolina didn't do, and hasn't been done to them in many, many years. They're 1-3 in their past 4 games. I'm not going to just double down on Garrett Riley that he's just terrible. That he's not terrible, folks. Clemson moved the football. But I will tell you, Clemson was not explosive last night. I said that you would try to run the football at will, but you still have to take shots downfield, like downfield, like way downfield. You have to take shots way downfield to keep the defense honest, because what they'll do is they'll walk that secondary up. Those linebackers will get just a little close to the line. Those defensive coordinators will, whether it's Duke or it's somebody else, the defensive coordinators will step up and go, dude, they're not going to throw the ball downfield. I don't have to cover what's not there. That would be a dumb decision. JT Brown, 100% agree, man. You're right on target. Clemson fans need to hold the coaches accountable for that crap fest. JT, thanks for supporting the channel with a $5 super thanks. I really do appreciate it. It's always very kind when anybody comments or watches. But, when you support the channel with your hard-earned money, it really does mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for that. You're right. Anybody, if you haven't subscribed, it is free. If you've hitting the thumbs up, it's free. Hitting the notification bell, sometimes it doesn't work, but hitting that, it's free. And of course, if you want to join the channel, you won't see the button on the iPhone, but you will see it on other devices. It's very, very, very cheap. So I do appreciate it. The comment section here is fantastic. Okay. But I just want to be very, very careful, folks. The running game, and Eric Still, I agree with you. I was impressed with how they ran the ball. I was disappointed in the passing game and the stupid mistakes. That's well said. That's it. That's point blank. Clemson did move the football. That's the thing. Clemson moved the football. But I'll tell you, when you're fumbling the ball inside your 5, let me give you my next. Let me give you my next point and takeaway from last night. So the first takeaway, I think it was right off the top of my head, the fundamentals of football went out the door with turning over the football. Pop Warner and rec league football knows not to do that. You hear dads, wannabe football coaches preaching to their 8-year-old son, protect the football, protect the football, protect the football. It hasn't changed, folks. Next, Cade Klubnik is not the problem. He was ill-prepared over the past few years. This culture that we have been garnering. Yes, I'm glad that we're not the University of Georgia and I think, 12 people have been arrested for, Georgia so far this year. I don't know if that number is completely true, but I mean, I know that there was a young lady who was killed because someone was playing Fast and Furious. Now we have a coach who got arrested the other night. I'm glad that Clemson's not doing that. Clemson's had their problems at times, just as you will having hundreds of kids come through. Not kids. They're not kids. They're guys come through a program. They're not helpless. They're not brainless. But at the same time, Clemson's culture that Dabo seems to be like trying to protect, it's not yielding the results. You know it, and I know it. We all know it. All God's children knows it. My next takeaway from this game: you're paid $11 million a year. And yes, Clemson fans are spoiled, and that's the reason they pay you $11 million is to continue to spoil us. You told us that we're supposed to expect excellence. When Clemson fans were losing their mind that we finally won 10 games for the first time in 30 years, you said, hey, I know we're excited, but this is not the end goal. Win an ACC championship, this is not the end goal. We have greater things in mind. We have greater goals, my friends. You set that expectation. And when you accepted $11 million a year, I say $11 million, it's right at $11 million per year. I want every one of you, and this is going to be for some of you very depressing. I want you to look at what you've averaged over the past few years of your yearly earnings. And then I want you to do the math of how many years it would take you to make $11 million. To coach a game. To be treated special everywhere you go. Yeah, people make their comments, but you have a 15,000 square foot mansion over on the other side of Clemson. And that's fine. I'm a card-carrying conservative capitalist. I'll go ahead and tell you right now. I want to make as much money as I can. Now, I'm not going to cheat anybody. I'm not going to steal from people. I'm not going to run people into the ground. But I lay my cards on the table. That's exactly who I am. If I can make money ethically, it's not wrong. I'm not sinning. I'm going to do it. Because the reason you go to work every day is to make money. But I want you to take that and I want you to ask yourself this question. How many years would it take you? I'll give you the math equation. Take $11 million divided by how much you make per year. And whatever that ending number is, that's how many years it would take you to earn what he earns in one year, only for Clemson to come out here over the past 4 years and look totally lost. Yes, we pay you a lot of money. Clemson pays you a lot of money. Clemson pays Garrett Riley a lot of money to call plays for a game because we want to see results. We don't want to see what we saw last night. Clemson fans pay ungodly money to come to a game. Some people can only make it to one game a year because the tickets are so expensive. Why? Because they want to see you. They don't want to come and watch you do awful and then basically be like, well, listen, we love this team and you don't need to judge us so harsh. I'm sorry, folks. Maybe I should have got into coaching. Well, I love this team and I love this university. And I've done a lot for it. So, there's nobody more disappointed than me. And then we move on. And I love Swinney. Swinney's done more for Clemson than anybody else. I can go ahead and tell you that. I don't want him. Everybody stop the fire Dabo Swinney. That's the next thing. Dabo Swinney, the firing of Dabo. Y'all get away from that. That is so stupid. I'm sorry. That is absolutely dumb. Hold him more accountable? Yeah. I wish with some of these coaches they would structure their contract to where $11 million. $11 million is what you get if you win the national championship. If you win 6 games, you get $2 million. You'd start seeing a lot of coaches be a little more discriminate with who they hire as their coordinators. You'd see more coaches going, "Hey, listen, I'd love to keep you on staff because, we're old friends and old buddies and we played college ball together, but I can't do that, man. I want that other $9 million. Sorry, pal, you need to become a better coach." You would see things. You would see a change. I work in sales. I have a base and I'm thankful for it. But what pushes me? Commission. You don't pay a neurosurgeon to come in and do a botched job. You pay them a lot of money because they have a specialty. And if they don't have a specialty, you pay them the same that you would pay someone working at a fast food restaurant. No offense to anyone at a fast food restaurant. I'm going to go to the stats of this game, and I'm going to start to close this sucker down. Clemson had 29 first downs. Duke had 17. Clemson was 7 of 15 on third down. Duke was 5 of 15. Clemson was 0 for 2 on fourth down, including Cade sliding early. When you start that slide, you're down, from what I can remember. Duke was 1 of 1. Clemson had 422 total yards, Duke, 374. Clemson had 209 passing yards. Duke had 175. Clemson had 213 rushing yards. Duke, listen to this, had 199, so basically 200. Clemson only had 1 penalty the entire game, 1 for 5 yards. Duke was penalized 7 times for 45 yards. Clemson turned over the ball 3 times last night. Duke turned it over twice. Clemson had the football for 33 minutes and 33 seconds. Duke had the ball for 27 minutes and 27 seconds. Clemson did not do terrible when it came to executing in a lot of facets of the game. Clemson did terrible when it came to the ABCs of the football, and that goes back to coaching. Someone talks about player development. I had a good conversation this morning with a friend of mine. I'll keep the name out of it. So, but what does really player development mean? Between you and I don't know all the ABCs of player development in college football. What I will tell you is that these guys are paid a lot of money to know how to do that. I'm not paid a lot of money to do surgery on people because that's not my gig. That's not what I do. You understand that? Maybe I don't supposed to know, but they're paid a lot of money to know. So either they know what they're doing and it's one thing for that to happen to a few players, but it's been happening a lot recently over the past few years. We saw that South Carolina game last year where we were calling weird reverse plays and guys fumbling the ball and on the kickoff and we fumbled at the end of the game. If you think more about it, we have probably a little more fumbleitis than what you want to admit. My next takeaway is just, and it basically sums up every bit of this. The fundamentals of football is gone. The fundamentals of football at Clemson, that's what killed us last night. Almost every facet of the game, Clemson won last night. And not taking care of the football, which is a Pop Warner rec league requirement that wannabe football coaches' dads, and I'm one of them, is preaching to their team, take care of the football, take care of the football, take care of the football. Don't just throw the football up. If we're doing a passing play and you get under duress, don't just throw it up. Don't do a punt. Don't throw a duck up in the air and throw up a prayer, literally a Hail Mary. That's the reason it's called a Hail Mary. But you're doing this on second down just because the defense is blitzing you. And we call it a pass play. I would rather you tuck it and be sacked unless it's fourth down. Then you can throw up a prayer. Chase Henderson, a member of the Not Bobby Dirkens channel, said, you can tell them who you were talking to. Me and Chase talked for a little bit this morning. And Chase, thank you so much for being a member of the Not Bobby Dirkens channel. A supporter. You and your brother and have been great supporters of the channel, and I appreciate it. We chatted, and we were trying to work it out this morning, exactly what went on last night. How do you figure out what is going on? And what I said to Chase was, I said, dude, you and I don't have to know exactly how to figure this out, but they're supposed to know that because that's their specialty. If you're a specialist, and that's why in the medical business, you have specialists, people who focuses on blood. You have people who focuses on the brain. You have eye doctors. You have dentists. You don't go to one doctor and they do everything. The body is so complex, but you have these people who are specialists. That's why when you look at the hierarchy of a football team, you have the head coach. The head coach sets the tone and the vision for the team. Then he hires people who brings in he hires people who brings in philosophies that matches that vision. And he was really good at it for a while. Jimmy Brown asked this question, is it the same old Dabo offense or Riley's offense? ESPN on Twitter says it's Dabo's. Why would Dabo do that? Jimmy, I cannot confirm that. I cannot confirm that whatsoever. All I know is whether it's Dabo's or whether it's not, that did not. It has to be fixed either way. But me and Chase, we were talking about this morning. I'm going to be transparent with you. I have very little mechanical ability when it comes to a car. But there's a guy here in Greer, South Carolina, I take my vehicle to, and he's a specialist, and I pay him to fix my car because he is I know this is going to be shocking, a mechanic. If I drive up there and drop off my car and I'm like, dude, it's making this weird sound. It's going ting, ding, 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 ding. What happens before that? Well, when I turn the ignition, it cranks up and then it it stalls and it makes that noise, right? And hey, right after that, does the RPMs kick up? Yeah, the RPMs does kick up. Oh, I know what it is. I pay him for that. We are not paying Clemson coaches. And I say we, but Clemson, they're not paying Clemson coaches just to be good guys and sit around the office. They're not. And if they are, they don't have to pay them millions. If that's the case, we're supposed to give them some type of overall understanding. Oh, guys, look, he's doing the best he can. He's only making $1.75 million per year. It's no big dude. You need to get off your high horse and go back to your $50,000 a year job and chill out. Hard labor. Look, I'm not going to bomb these guys and just be terrible, but I'm not going to give them a ton of understanding when it comes to things that they're supposed to be a specialist at doing, namely protecting the football. Chase and I was talking about this morning. Where did the change happen? Where did the change happen? And like if we had a geographical location to where you nail down a spike in the ground and say, this is where we're at. This is what we look like when it's, this is what success looks like right here. How far would we be from that geographical? Now I get the analogy. There's a lot of moving parts to it, but I'm just saying that's like a clean reference. This is what success looks like if it was a location. How far would we be from that location right now? I think we're not. Clemson's not terrible. Clemson is. Listen to me. The dynasty is over, folks. The dynasty is over. Until they prove, just like I told Florida State, you're going to have to prove to me that you're back. The dynasty's over. Just like I told Penn State, you got to prove to me that this top 10 ranking is not just another top 10 preseason ranking that you always have, and then somehow you flounder when you shouldn't. Just like I've told Texas over and over, listen, hook 'em horns. You guys were supposedly back a few years ago with, we're black. Where did that happen? That guy's not even the same head coach for you anymore, which I know that was Ellinger that said that. Big Red asked, did Bobby Dirkens have a comment about last night's final score? Yes, he did. Bobby Dirkens did. He made a few questionable comments, if I may say so. In fact, I feel embarrassed to even know the guy. So I'm going to give y'all a public service announcement. Remember, I am not an X's and O guys. I'm not going to try to do that. And there's some of you out there that you think you're an X's and O's guy. You are not an X's and O guy. Now I'll say this: Chase played and coached small college football. So I'm not talking about him. I'm not referencing him whatsoever. But there's a lot of people who will even come on my channel and they'll be like, you don't even know. I'm going ahead and admitting it. That I'm not. But just because I'm not a chef doesn't mean that when I taste certain foods, I go, oh God, this is off. Well, you come back here and try to make it. Yeah, dude, you're the chef. You're supposed to know better. You're supposed to be the one who comes up and says, yeah, this is off. I need to fix this. But I'm going to give you my instant fix. And I say instant. It's not going to be instant. What's going on with Clemson right now has been years in the making. This has been years in the making. By the way, I'm going to throw in here the link to the Bobby Dirkens from last night. There's the link in the comments section if you want to go check that out. Until it stubbed my pinky toe 89, until someone proves me different and we're not turning over the football twice inside the 10 and shanking a kick and looking like we did last night. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, anybody who gets really upset at me that I say the dynasty is over, I just don't know why we would believe that anything is still there. So what's the first? And I'm going to shut up after this because, well, I have to get going. Plus, I'm starting to lose my voice. I have talked so flippin' much about this game, whether it's on video or my dad called me after I talked to Chase this morning. We talked about the game. We have to take care of the football. By the way, all of these takeaways are going to be duh. You're going to be like, duh. Yeah, exactly. A guy in his bonus room who works remote can come up with this stuff. I'm paid nothing for this. And I know these facts. Take care of the football. Take care of the football. Second one, continue to run the football. Number 3, take shots down the field, even if you know it's going to fall incomplete. I'm talking about 40, 50-yard bombs down the field. You say, why would you do that? To keep the defense honest. Chase, so I didn't get to say what player development is in our convo earlier. You had to go. It's because you have to work. You mean you didn't stay on the phone with me instead of seeing horse patients? When a player improves skills beyond more than the level of skill they had when it comes in, it starts with fundamentals. It does start with fundamentals. That's exactly right. But fundamentals are different at each level. You're right. We talked about before, how do you develop Trevor Lawrence more at Clemson? How do you do that? But then you turn around and you go, are they not developing him in the NFL? Maybe Clemson should have reached deeper at that time and said, you know what? Everybody here, this guy is so good. He's beyond our level. I have a friend of mine. I'm not kidding. I have a friend of mine. He gave guitar lessons, and everybody loved this guy, and he was really good at giving guitar lessons. He had one student that came in who was unbelievable. It was like a protege. And you know what he said? Because he actually gives a crap about the student. He said, I'm going to have to find you a better guitar teacher. This is a guy who taught hundreds, if not thousands of people, who was a world-class musician. I say world-class. He was amazing. He had one student who came in that just went beyond his level. He progressed very fast. And instead of just milking the cow that paid him monthly payments for giving lessons to this kid, acting like he was developing him when actually he was just taking money from his parents, what did he do? He said, I've got to find somebody for you because I want to see you develop. Clemson should have went to the NFL, found somebody who was brilliant and said, we need you to develop Trevor, not for us, but for him. That's what should have happened. And then they didn't. Big Red, would Dabo use the portal now? Last night was not and I say this respectfully, I would like to see him go out and utilize the portal more. Keon Coleman going to Florida State. We saw Travis Hunter going to Jacksonville State. That had immediate impact. Caleb Williams going to USC with Jordan Addison. Those guys who went there had immediate impact. But last night was not a portal issue. Last night, you could have brought in Keon Coleman, and they would have still fumbled the ball inside the 4-yard line. You understand what I'm saying there? Last night was a lack of fundamentals. Last night, you didn't even have to scheme hard. You gather them around, you look at them and go, you got to take care of the football. And I try to keep a pretty clean mouth, but I would have probably said I would have been fighting it. I'll put it that way. Luke the Tar Heel, UNC went and hired Tom Brady's coach, quarterback's coach for Drake May. Clemson could have done something similar. Yeah, sure. Last night, you didn't need to hire a specialist. Last night, you needed to figure out why your team keeps fumbling the ball. That's plain and simple. You're right. Yeah, you have to go get something. If you have Superman on the team, everybody around you that you're used to coaching or your coaching style, you have to, if you really care for that player, you've got to go find a Superman level developer. And Clemson, with their resources and their seriousness about football, they did not do that for Trevor. Fortunately, he was so great, he still was number 1 pick overall, and he's still tearing it up down at Jacksonville of all places. That tells you how good the guy was. Brock Morris, they honestly look like they learned the playbook and didn't practice fundamentals or anything this offseason. You're 100% right. Man, this guy, he runs so fast, and he fumbles. Folks, I'm going to close this down. If you've not subscribed, it is free. You want to support the channel, it really does help the channel. That whole algorithm thing and YouTube, I'm sorry, that's just the world we live in. It does help. And a lot of you have been subscribing. Thank you so much for that. Hitting the thumbs up, that's free as well. If you do want to support the channel, I have to keep going through this spiel, unfortunately. But come to find out, an iPhone, when you're watching YouTube on an iPhone, the join button for the membership is not there. What's the membership you're like? There's one tier that's $3 per month. There's one tier that's $5 per month. Yeah, you won't even notice it coming out. But if you want to support the channel, you're like, hey, I like this guy. He's independent. He doesn't have any strings attached to him by the media or by Clemson. He says what he says, right, wrong, or whatever. I like that about him. Even if I disagree with him, you want to support the channel, please do that. Chase Henderson has supported the channel. Let me see. Stubbed My Pinky Toe 89 has supported the channel with membership. There's 4 or 5 others and I just launched this thing literally. And then people have been sending super thanks. That's another way you can support the channel because I'm independent. And I'm going to tell you this. I love being independent. I love being independent. And sometimes I say some stuff maybe I shouldn't. Maybe sometimes I say some stuff that I should that everybody thinks I shouldn't. I'm not trying to be a shock factor. I just want to tell the truth. The truth is, last night, local high school teams preached better fundamentals than what we exhibited. I'm not saying that Clemson is not preaching fundamentals. I'm just saying the message was preached. It just seems like the congregation wasn't listening. JT Brown just came in here and became a new YouTube member. Thank you, my friend JT Brown. Thank you for supporting the channel. You became a new member of the Not Bobby Dirkens channel. Ask JT. It's easy and it's really cheap. So I do appreciate that. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you supporting the channel. I appreciate everyone else who has been supporting the channel. And JT said $3 a month. Come on. Yeah, see? He didn't even notice it. Totally worth it. Thank you so much. Apparently, Paul Dum Dum went off on Dabo. I hadn't seen it yet, but will be my next video. Supposedly he did. Let me tell you this, Chase. Everybody knows this. The night that Clemson beat Alabama 44-16 in San Francisco, beat them by 4 touchdowns, true freshman quarterback, going up against rumored the best defense ever. And then after it, everybody was going, well, there was whisperings that this team was not that good. Really? You mean ESPN, you were trying to protect your investment, the SEC? No. You had all those ESPN analysts who was sucking at the teat of the SEC and ESPN. You mean to tell me that y'all were lying? You mean to tell me you're protecting the great investment? No. What world would that happen in? This is a world that even the government wouldn't lie to you. Gee whiz. That night, those ESPN analysts had to be a lot of them had to be put on suicide watch, including Paul Feinbaum. Paul almost grew hair that night. He has I know he went to the University of Tennessee, but he has the Alabama pajama set in all houndstooth colors. You see that? Did you hear that? Yeah, Chase, he's been waiting for this moment. He's been frantically waiting for this moment, and I hate that Swinney gave it to him. But he's been a critic of Clemson for so many years, and he finally gets to say something bad about them. Midland's Directory, one of the longtime followers of the Not Bobby Dirkens show, just became a member. It was easy, wasn't it, Midlands? It was cheap. Thank you so much. I feel cheap to a point, but hey, I'll take it. Thank you for supporting the channel. You've always been a fantastic supporter, and I appreciate you supporting it. JT Brown said, this is 3 years in a row we've seen supposed 5 stars just absolutely pee their britches. I love the words britches on dumb fundamentals. Dabo, I love you, man, but you're not earning that paycheck. Huh? Who cares? You're right. Chase, they lost a crap ton of money on that game. They did. Midlands directory says yeah. Now, I want to say this to some of my South Carolina fans. Mike 3883. Me and Pigskin Pete are buddies. I had him on my show a couple of weeks ago, and we might need to do a video together on this subject. Someone said that I should check on him, see if he's okay. I said, even when Pigskin Pete's not okay, he's okay. He's all right. Mrs. Pete will drag him back in. Or beat him one. I don't know. P digits. Yes, Finkel is Einhorn. Laces out. Dwayne Wicker, you're totally trolling. It's hilarious. Well, you say you're not trolling. You actually mean it. The ACC looks better, except for Clemson. And I'm going to say this, South Carolina fans. You know what? South Carolina and Clemson did me in this weekend. I actually picked South Carolina to win the game, and they went and embarrassed themselves. And then my team went a step beyond and embarrassed themselves. They said, hey, we have all this talent. Yeah, we got the new offensive coordinator. Yeah, let's just start fumbling the ball inside the 5. That's a plan. On 3, break. 1, 2, 3, break. And they fumble the ball. You guys seeing a bit of what we've been going through for years. It's frustrating to realize you have to take everyone serious. Yeah, you do. JT Brown talking some mad smack. I like it. I'm going to do something while I'm here live. And by the way, had a bunch of people that's got in here, and I'm going to make one more big. Yeah, I'm telling you, Tim Russell, he almost grew hair that night. I think he had a small stroke. It's what, a TAI or whatever it's called. I'm going to go look up the ticket prices to the Clemson Florida State game. Going to SI Tickets. We'll look it up real quick. No, I'm not. I don't have an affiliate program with them. I need one probably. Yesterday, the tickets were about $231 a piece. So they dropped only about $5. Okay, so that's not a big deal. See how they trend over the next few days. TIA, that's right, the Nature Boy. So, Chase, that's what you were talking about the other day. Folks, one last invitation. If you want to support the channel, it's only $3 per month. I also have a $5 per month tier. I have Midlands and JT Brown who got in there and it was like, dude, it's only $3. Come on. So if you want to support the channel monthly and you won't even notice it coming out, do that. I appreciate it. It would be great. It does help the channel. At least subscribe and hit the thumbs up and turn on the notifications. Folks, Clemson has to play better fun. They have to play fundamental football. You cannot commit penalties that the local bad high school team is doing. I don't care how great you are. Part of greatness starts off with fundamentals being second nature to you. Good fundamentals has to be second nature to you. If you want to be great, the fundamentals have to be just boom. You have to be an expert at the fundamentals. It is second nature. It's pure reaction. And it doesn't matter how well you can run a 40. If you have a pass thrown to you and you're not fighting for it, it doesn't matter. Jacob, Dorman High School would have beat Clemson last night. Yeah. Mike 3883 says Duke is worried about, or Notre Dame's worried about Duke now. I'm not going to anoint Duke as great because I'm just going to tell you, Duke took advantage. Duke cannot believe that Clemson fumbled the ball as much as they did. Clemson did not, and I know if somebody's going to go, well, it did happen, so live with it. I'm just giving an example here. Calm down, Pee Wee. But if Clemson scores 2 touchdowns and not turn it over like, a 7 and under rec football team, guess what? There's 14 points automatically. And I think that defense, this is one thing I was meaning to say, and I didn't. So anybody who's sticking with me, this is probably something I should have said at the beginning. I believe once the defense started seeing the offense floundering and doing just stupid stuff, I truly believe with all of my heart that they had PTSD from the past few years going, oh no, here we go again. Here we go again. We're going back out on the field with no points. No, not again. I'm telling you, that happened. Because they're human beings. It would have happened to me no matter how well-intentioned I am. I'm like, oh, no, dude. All right, get it out of your head. Just go out here and play. And then it happens again. Then you have a kicker, shank a kick. It looks like me out there practicing. JT Brown, Clemson used to be known for taking 3-star players and getting to a natty with them. Where is that team? Heck of a question. Heck of a question. And I'm going to leave that with the last question of the day. Folks, thank you so much for joining me. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications. If you want to support the channel, there is a join button. I'll catch you next time. You take care of yourself. And as always, even as bitter as it is today, go Tigers.